G'day everyone, I'm Jake Phillips, Breed Development Officer with Angus Australia. Welcome back to the Stock Agents Toolkit, where we're unpacking all the things that you need to know to find the right Angus sires for your clients this breeding season. Today, we're going to be focusing a little deeper on why spending time planning on genetic selection through the sires that you're choosing is time very well spent. Today we're going to hear more from Angus Australia's Breed Development Officer, Matt Reynolds, with lessons from the Angus Sire Benchmarking Program, and specifically the lessons that have been learnt about EBVs and how powerful they are at predicting the difference in progeny performance. So sit back and relax and enjoy a recap from the ASBP.
The Angus Sire Benchmarking Program has demonstrated that there is great potential to achieve genetic improvement in Angus breeding programs by utilising selection tools such as estimated breeding values and selection indexes. A recent project undertaken by Angus Australia with funding assistance from the MLA donor company assessed the progeny performance of sires in cohorts 5, 6 and 7 of the ASBP to analyse how well the EBVs of the sires when entered in the program aligned with the actual performance of their progeny. The project builds on previous work which examined cohorts 1, 2 and 3. Sires were ranked from highest to lowest based on their EBV when they entered the ASBP, with the 10 sires with the highest EBV and 10 with the lowest EBV for each trait used to calculate the expected difference between the performance of the progeny by these two groups of sires. The expected difference was then compared to the actual difference of the ASBP progeny. When assessing birth weight, the average birth weight EBV of the highest and lowest 10 birth weight EBV sires in each cohort was on average 3.7 kilos. This equates to a predicted difference in the average birth weight of the progeny by sires between the two groups of 1.9 kilos. The predicted difference is only half the difference in the EBVs, as the sires only contribute to half of the progeny's genetics. When the average birth weight of the progeny from the highest and lowest 10 birth weight sires was measured, the actual difference in birth weight was 1.5 kilos. For gestation length, an expected difference of 2.8 days was calculated based on the difference between the highest 10 and lowest 10 EBV sires, with an actual difference of 2.7 days seen in the difference between the performance of the two sire progeny groups. The difference between the average EBV of the highest and lowest 10 EBV sires for 200-day growth and 400 and 600-day weight EBVs in each cohort was on average 17.3 kilos, 29.1 kilos and 42.1 kilos respectively. This equates to a predicted difference in the average weight of progeny of the sires in both groups of 8.7 kilos, 14.6 kilos and 21.1 kilos at 200, 400 and 600 days of age. When weighed, the actual difference in the weight of progeny was 8.6 kilos, 14.2 kilos and 19.9 kilos. When examining carcass composition, the difference between the average EBV of the highest and lowest 10 EBV sires for carcass weight, eye muscle area, rib fat, rump fat and intramuscular fat EBVs equates to a predicted difference in the sire's average carcass progeny performance of 15.4 kilos dress carcass weight, 3.3 square centimetres in eye muscle area, 1.8 millimetres in rib fat depth, 2 millimetres in rump fat depth, and 1.3% in intramuscular fat. When the steer progeny was slaughtered and the abattoir carcass measurements collected, the actual difference in the carcass performance of progeny was 13.4 kilos dress carcass weight, 2.6 square centimetres in eye muscle area, 1.8 millimetres in rib fat depth, 0.9 millimetres in rump fat depth, and 1.5% in intramuscular fat. A difference between average days to calving EBV of the highest and lowest 10 days to calving EBV sires predicted calves by the lowest 10 sires would be born on average 2.2 days earlier than the progeny of the 10 sires with the highest days to calving EBV. When the heifer progeny were calved down at 2 years of age and their calving records collated, the progeny sire by the lowest days to calving EBV sires calved on average 1 day earlier than the progeny sired by the highest days to calving EBV sires. The difference between the net feed intake feedlot EBV at the highest and lowest 10 NFIF EBV sires in each cohort was on average 0.7 kilos per day across cohorts 5, 6 and 7. indicating that the progeny of the lowest NFIF sires were predicted to eat 0.3 kilos less feed per day for the same weight and rate of weight gain. When the steer progeny were tested for feed intake at the Talimba Research feedlot using GrowSafe technology, the actual difference between the progeny of the high and low NFIF EBV sire groups was 0.2 kilos per day. This project has revealed that estimated breeding values provide an accurate prediction of the breeding value of sires in cohorts 5, 6 and 7 of the Angus Sire Benchmarking Program. When selecting animals for use within a breeding program, the use of EBVs and selection index values, coupled with the significant genetic variation that is present within the Angus breed, provides a considerable opportunity to improve the productivity and profitability of a beef breeding enterprise.
Thanks, Matt. That was a great summary of the ASBP findings, and it clearly shows the difference that can be made in actual gains when utilising sires that rank highly for that trait. This is clear evidence that when comparing sires who rank highly for certain traits against sires that do not, well, there is clear opportunity to make genetic gains which result in actual improvements in production traits. The genetic variation available in the Angus breed allows your clients to find something that they're looking for, that suits their breeding objective and will continue to make gains in the traits that are important to them. Well, we have reached the end of this module of the Stock Agents Toolkit. But if you'd like more information on the lessons from the Angus Sire Benchmarking Program, please don't hesitate to contact Angus Australia for more information. Next time on the Stock Agents Toolkit, we'll be wrapping up our final module, which is taking a look at the Angus Australia Selecting Bulls Guide, which I might say is a fantastic resource and a recap of everything that we've been through so far. There'll be some practical information as well to share with your clients. But until then, stay safe, and we'll see you next time as we continue to unpack the Stock Agents Toolkit.